And we're live, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, welcome all, and all welcome. I am just the producer for today. Let me angle that a little bit. It was kind of up in the ceiling. I'm like, whoa. Anyway, I am your producer for the day. Well, I'm the producer every day, but like I mentioned before, I am solely the producer. They are the hosts, even though I am kind of welcoming you guys in right now. But in case you guys are wondering, well, why do I see this guy on my screen and he's not going to be saying anything else for the rest of the entirety of the show, then now you know. I'm only playing producer.
If you don't know.
I'm also going to be prompting up on the screen something for you guys to read as you follow along with what the cast here is saying in conjunction to their Crime Syndicate show. With that said, folks, we're not going to get the show started just yet.
Good teaser, man.
Keeping
Good
them
teaser.
in suspense.
Yes. We're keeping them in suspense.
Yes. Well, that is what, criminology is all about anyway, right? Keeping you guys in
very
suspense.
much so, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, man,
So-
what's going to happen next? Oh!
Yeah, exactly.
So for anyone new, you guys mind explaining what this channel is about? And the different shows we have on here?
Okay. For those of you that are new here, this is, obviously, we are ENT Hooligans. We have 3 main shows. We have this one, Crime Syndicate, which is coming up in a few minutes. And we have Endless Possibilities, where we cover all things life-related, from top to bottom. And we have Sports Vista on Thursdays.
Very good.
And anything else in
Yes.
between that we might come up with.
And yes, exactly.
I am
And sometimes we have spur of the moment podcast as well.
on most shows. I am not on Crime Syndicate, however. Crime Syndicate is more these guys' field. And,
Yes.
But sometimes he is a
they
special.
Say, and they say that I'm a geek, huh?
Sometimes he is a special guest on our show, though.
Yes. Sometimes we usher him in at times, yes.
Or he'll just pop in, out of
Usher
nowhere.
me.
So-
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
That's not how that works. I'm the boss.
Hey, those are my confession. That's my confession. We usher you in. That's my confession.
Just when he thought he said everything, he said, The boss on the side say he got fired away. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Anyway, folks, focusing out of the camera here real quick. And let's go and hit that intro.
All right.
I was
All right.
I was about to hit the wrong intro.
Oops.
Here we go. All right, here we go. Let's get this underway, shall we?
Yes.
Boom. Boom, bada, boom, bada, boom.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. This is the Crime Syndicate. I am your host, Ness, alongside Starfox. And we are
Good
ENT
afternoon.
Hooligans.
Yes, your entertainment hub for all.
That's right. Before we get started, can you tell the people out there how they can follow us?
Of course. You can follow us on the Twitter, or YouTube, or on Facebook. You can see in the description, we will have the links provided on how you can do that. Don't be afraid to leave us comments. Tell us what you like more of. Tell us what you don't like or like less of or want less of. And we will be sure to provide you with really cool content. And hit the bell. Make sure you subscribe to all notifications, not some, so that way you will know what we are doing on ENT Hooligans, your entertainment hub for all.
That would be.
Make sure to ring our bell.
Yes.
Not want more, less of, or less of.
Yeah.
Well, right.
Thank you for the grammatical correction there.
Yes, thank you.
Shout out to management backstage.
She's got the case of the limber tail.
Which will be covered in 2 weeks. No, I'm kidding. On the Crime Syndicate. What is liberty?
And back to the article and the topic, guys.
Yep.
Yes. So, what will we be covering today on the Crime Syndicate?
Well, we talked about earlier on the pre-show before we started, spur of the moment things. This is kind of a spur of the moment topic. It kind of is, but it kind of isn't. But this is part one of a 2-part series on the case of Bill Cosby.
Yes. Part
Today,
one is. Go ahead.
Yeah. Today is basically just our reactions to how we felt when we first found out everything, to how we felt about the conviction, to yesterday, which is the conclusion.
Yes.
Ladies first. Go ahead.
Part two, we will be covering a documentary that is called The Rise and Fall of an Icon. And I believe that's on Netflix. I have to check. But that's part two. That's next week.
Yeah. Next week we're going to get more in depth into the rise and fall of an American icon.
Yes. Which is Bill Cosby.
Yes, which is Bill Cosby. So that's part two.
Yes. That's
And
part
before
two.
we get started, I'd like to remind everyone again, this week and next week we will be doing this particular podcast on Wednesday. We will be back on our normal slot day on October the 8th.
Yes. Which is on a Monday.
Yes, which is Monday, which is our normal day for this podcast. All right.
Yes, that's correct.
And with that being said, shall we begin?
Let's begin.
Go ahead.
My initial reaction when I found out what Bill Cosby did, which I believe it was he raped and drugged women. Was that it?
Yeah, a few years ago.
Or did he just drug them?
No, both.
Both? Okay.
Both.
Okay. I was shocked because he's Dr. Huxtable from The Cosby Show. I could not believe it. I didn't want to believe it. I couldn't. I couldn't believe it. I was in total shock. I refused to believe it for a while. And then, I don't even want to go there yet. I was going to say I saw what happened, at the trial, but what was your initial reaction to this shocker?
Wow. When this first came out, which is, I believe, 3-4 years ago, I was taken aback. I was like, wow, he did what? And I didn't want to make a judgment right off the bat, and this stems back to what I learned from the Kobe Bryant case. You know, so because following that case, I wasn't quick to jump to innocent or guilt or what have you. I wanted to sit back and see what else came out. But I for one, was kind of taken aback. I was like, wait, what? Who did what now?
Yeah,
but
I was too.
As more and more people were coming forward with the exact same story, I thought to myself, okay, there's something to this. Where there's smoke, there's fire. So I can't totally dismiss it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't, like I said, I didn't want to believe it. And
yeah,
like you said, Ness, when other women came forward, okay, you can't make this up. There's no way. And a lot of women came forward, and people thought it was about the money at first. Oh, they want money. They want to extort him. You know, all these different things.
All these conspiracy theories that were floating around out there. Yeah.
Because unfortunately, these women were white. And then once, I can't think of her name at the moment.
Lillian Bernard.
Andrea? Yeah.
Oh, the woman that took him to court, Andrea Constance.
Yeah, Andrea. Andrea Constance. When she came out, you know, and she took him to court. Oh, you know, but then it was settled out of court. So,
well, let's be clear. Let's be clear. The other women who came out and told their story, the statute of limitations had since expired.
Had run out. Right.
So there was really nothing they could have done.
Correct. Yeah.
The woman who eventually took him to trial, you know, obviously the statute of limitations did not run out, so they were able to retry him as a result.
Yes.
Well, first of all, they didn't go to. Well, there wasn't there was a retrial, but in 2005 there was a private hearing where they just kind of had a settlement. So.
Yes, and we don't know if he continued after that hearing was conducted. He could have. We don't know.
No.
You know, but usually a lot of these predatorial rapists will continue to do it until they get imprisonment. Until they can no longer do it anymore.
And they have the MO, obviously. Every serial rapist, serial killer, they have an MO.
Of course. They do. Now, every MO is different.
Of course.
Bill Cosby's, I believe, was I could do it because I'm rich and I can pay them off.
Yeah,
so I can buy their
MO,
silence.
And obviously, his MO was drugging them, and then once they were sedated, he had his way with them.
Yes.
That was his MO.
Which, to me, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
It really
now
is.
We get...
I mean...
It is going.
There's a lot of women out there, you know, that probably would fall at his feet because of who he is. But yet you have to, you know, drug women who are way younger than you are. Really?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Wow.
So then we get to the second trial, because
yes,
the first trial ended in a hung jury.
Correct.
Which again goes back to what Crystal just said about how she didn't want to believe it. A lot of people felt that same way. Mm-hmm. A lot of people didn't want to believe it, and then there was others that were outraged, and you know, so it was a lot of people on both sides of the fence.
Correct.
So when he was convicted 6 months ago, back in April, and everything, and I had read the report as to what evidence was presented, what have you. I had no problem with him being convicted.
No, neither did I.
Not at all. I was okay with it. He admitted it, his own admission alone. I'm like, okay, yeah, he's guilty.
Yeah.
Just that alone, along with corroborated by the dozens and dozens of accounts from his victims, and primarily as well as the victim in question that took him to court, Andrea Constance, whose story was the same as all the others who came forward.
Yeah, and that you can't make something like that up.
No, because they all had the same vivid account of their stories. Their stories had that same vivid account.
Correct.
They were able to give you every detail as to how they met Mr. Cosby, what happened, how they ended up alone together, and then the point where they were sedated, which is the part that they don't remember because they were sedated. They just remember waking up and they were either had their clothes on wrong or they were just off completely.
Yeah.
We're going to get more into this when we cover the documentary next week.
Yes, we will for sure. Yeah.
But I had no problem with him being convicted. I was okay with that. I said, okay, good.
No.
He was guilty. He committed a crime, and now, hey, good.
Right, and now we move on to the sentencing phase.
Which was yesterday. Yep.
Which was yesterday. His attorney petitioned for him to be under house arrest because of his age and because of his multiple medical issues that he has.
Yes.
And the sentencing was 3 to 10 years in a state prison, which I that in my opinion I don't agree with, because he should be under house arrest simply because it's a life sentence anyway.
I didn't think that they would send him to prison.
No, neither did I.
I was shocked, but not shocked at the same time. If you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
It's one of those where,
I
like,
felt the
okay,
same
they
way.
might do it, but when they actually do it, they're like, wow, they actually sent him to prison. And
Yeah.
Again, I don't fault them for it.
No, you can't.
But I understand that, why people would say, man, why would they do that? He's 81 years old. He's sick. I get it. I understand
But
it's tough.
It is tough.
Like, wow. It's an all-around tragic situation.
But the judge wanted to hand out the most maximum punishment that he could give out because he was a serial rapist.
Out of him, yeah.
Yeah. And I believe that he had every right to do so.
Oh, absolutely.
This judge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an all-around tragic situation, so I definitely understand, his fans, his diehard fans, feeling like the way they feel. I mean, it's just like it reminds me of Chris Benoit. Whenever our colleague backstage, whenever we reminisce on Chris Benoit's old matches, it's not the same. We can't look at it the same because of the lasting impression he left on us.
Yeah, and what's Bill Cosby going to be remembered for? Oh yeah, he was the one who drugged those women and raped them.
Sadly, this is what, his legacy is totally destroyed now. It's just it's a shame. This is, I mean, I don't know. There's really nothing celebratory about any of this.
Nothing. Not at all. Not at all.
Thankfully,
you can't
those
celebrate.
women, thankfully those women got the justice they were looking for, and hopefully they can move on with their lives now, and they can be at peace now.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully they can be. And that this whole thing is just really sad. And
it is.
Once again, it didn't need to happen.
No, it didn't need to happen. But sadly, it did, and he used his influence to his advantage, and
right
to the max. I mean,
oh yeah, he did, and that's just what's sad about the whole thing. There are, like I said, there are dozens of women out there, and you target. That's the thing about serial rapists is they target the most vulnerable, or they'll make...
My thing is this. Here's a man who, again, didn't need to go through that measure to get women.
Right. But he did it.
But
He did it because he could.
Yeah.
And for all we know, he could have been a little arrogant about it. Look at me, I'm Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean... Boy, it's just... I too was a fan of the Cosby Show as well. I mean, not a diehard fan, but a fan nonetheless.
No.
But so when it really didn't sink in for me until he was convicted. I was like, oh, crap! I just couldn't watch the show anymore. I'm like, nah, I can't.
I know I can't. I know I cannot watch the show anymore.
Because, as I just said, it didn't really sink in for me until he was convicted.
Mm-hmm.
Like I knew what he was being charged with, what the allegations were. But again, I wanted to wait to see what happens.
Right.
And then finally, when he was convicted,
not only that,
when he was convicted, I was just like, wow.
Not only that, bro.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
When you watch a particular show or when you're in tune to a particular person, you start creating this image of them. And when you hear that such things have transpired, you're like, wait a minute, this what you've been all about, as opposed to who you've been portraying and who you've been trying to sell us on.
Yeah.
It damages that image. It more than damages it.
Yeah, and that's that's why I said he will not be remembered for being Dr. Huxtable. He will be remembered for raping these women and drugging them. That's what his legacy stands for.
Sadly.
And that's what's so sad about this whole thing.
Here's another damning part to this was his family was not at the sentencing hearing.
Really?
His wife and them, they were not there.
Wow. And his wife was the one who spoke out.
Yeah, she did. Following the conviction, she did. She spoke. She made a statement defending, standing by her husband.
Yeah.
And I get it. I get it. She's the wife. She's been with this man for decades. They have children together. They have significant history. I understand.
And you don't. Nobody
wants to believe that their husband or a significant other is capable of such things.
Correct. Yeah.
So I'm not going to knock her for that. I definitely understand.
Especially after
there's no reason to knock her for that. Yeah, after that. Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really sad. I mean, I don't blame the family at all for not being there, though.
No, I don't blame them either. I mean, quite frankly, I think if I were them, I don't think I'd want to be there to see that either.
No, I know I wouldn't. And unfortunately,
they have suffered enough. Quite frankly,
unfortunately, the Cosby name, the last name, is tarnished. Now,
sadly, yeah, it's a shame.
It is. It is a shame.
Here's a guy who was an icon, as the name of the document, Fall of an American Icon. Oh, yeah. He was an
Literally.
icon.
Literally. I remember reading the article yesterday of the sentencings, and I thought, he really did it. Just like you, it sank in once they convicted him. You know?
Yeah, when he was convicted, I said, wow. And I read what he was facing. I'm like, damn. Wow.
Yeah. He really did it. He really did it. Now, why do serial rapists do what they do? I don't know. I don't have an answer to that.
No, we don't have an answer to that, but it's just because I mean all of them are different, obviously, because they all have a different MO.
Right.
Oh, so we might get into that on another podcast. Who knows?
Yeah. the psychology of criminology or something. I don't know why they do what they do, but
It's
horrible.
It's just a sad situation, sad all around. Just for
Yeah,
everybody
especially
involved,
for the
it's really
victims.
sad.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
Those victim-
going around for years, being ignored, dismissed, demonized.
yeah. And then you having to get onto the stand and reliving all that.
Yeah, and having to get on the stand and recount that nightmare.
For 12 total strangers that you don't know.
Yeah.
It's
And
nerve-wracking.
praying to God that one of them believes you.
Yeah. Yep. It's nerve-wracking.
Yeah. I couldn't even imagine. I mean, how wow. Phew.
I know. Neither can I.
But hopefully they can be at peace now that all this is over. You know, the red tape and the legal aspect of it is over.
Yeah. Hopefully they can be.
Hopefully they can be, yeah.
You know, come to terms with it. You can never really be at peace with it, but you can come to terms with it.
Yeah, you can come to terms with it and essentially, you know, forgive the person who did it. Obviously, yesterday we spoke about forgiveness, so here we go.
Yep. Yep. Listen to that podcast, folks, if you want to, you know, dive deeper into forgiveness and what it means to you. It's hard to forgive someone who does that kind of damage.
Yeah, who inflicts that kind of trauma on a person, because that is a very traumatic experience. Like,
It is.
I mean, the underlying effects that it has on a person for years and years and years to come. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it damages you. You're no longer the same person that you were before. And you have to come to terms with it. Yeah. I think that's what's so hard for people, is coming to terms with something that traumatic.
Now, earlier we talked about statute of limitations.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there should be a statute of limitations when it comes to these types of crimes?
I'm on the fence about that. Simply because, actually, I said I was on the fence about it, but now that I sit and think about it, I don't think there should be a statute of limitations when it comes to something as barbaric as rape. There's no statute of limitations on catching a murderer.
No, there isn't.
So why does there have to be a statute of limitations when it comes to catching a rapist?
After all, I mean, rape is just as bad, if not worse.
It's just as bad, if not worse. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sexual assault, right? To be more to soften it up, right?
Right. Sexual assault. Yes. No, I don't think there should be a statute of limitations.
Tomato, man. Tomato. Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think there should be?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah. I don't
because
think so either.
there is no need for there to be a loophole for these people to get away with this.
Mm-hmm.
Because it takes time for a rape victim to come out with her story. With his or her story.
Or her story. Yes, men can be raped too.
It's happened before. Terry Crews, I believe, is a example of this.
Yes.
Or was he a victim of domestic violence? I'm not really sure which.
I think it was domestic violence. I'm not sure what it was. But
I know he was a victim of one or the other. I'm not exactly sure which, but yeah, it takes victims of these of rape time to come forward and tell their story.
Because it's a very scary experience.
You can't just put a time limit on that. and go, okay,
No.
you only have like 15 years to tell us, otherwise.
Yeah. And here, where I live, it's 7.
Yeah, that's nothing.
No. I believe it's that way in New York, too. It's either 7 or 10. I'm not quite sure. But there shouldn't be a statute of limitations.
No,
because when you are thinking of coming forward, you're extremely vulnerable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're extremely vulnerable. You're still feeling the effects of the nightmare that you keep reliving over and over again. And the last thing you want to do is recount said nightmare.
Right. Yeah. That's the last thing that you want to do, but you know that you have to. And, you know, it's weird, but it can make you a stronger person. If you do come forward. Because you're acknowledging something, and therefore the person who did rape you or sexually assault you can't win. Because it's about control. Rape is all about control.
Of course it is. Because essentially what you're doing is imposing your will on someone.
Mm-hmm.
That's essentially what you're doing. You're imposing your will on somebody.
Right.
And having your way with them. Whether it's through sedating them or through brute force.
Yeah. Wow.
Whew.
Man. Wow.
It's a heavy topic. Wow.
It is a very heavy topic. Wow. Wow, Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
And for the record, we all know that this justice system is racially biased, but Bill Cosby is not a victim of that, folks. Let's stop that right now.
No, he is not. Yeah, he's not a victim. He's not a victim of racial anything.
No. I mean, he's been doing this for over 40 years. So
yep. Hence why he's a serial rapist.
He's not a victim of that here. Yeah.
No. Not at all. Wow. Bill Cosby.
It's just a shame. It really is. It's just sad, really.
It is. But, you know, the only thing that we can do now is God will have to deal with him if he believes in God.
I believe he does. I believe he is a spiritual man to some extent or another.
To some extent.
Yeah.
I see.
So.
I believe in the article that I was reading yesterday, they haven't sent him to prison yet.
Yeah, but are they waiting for the appeal to be processed? Is
yes.
That what's happening?
Until all his appeals are processed. Which I believe he has 3 of them. I think he can appeal 3 times.
Wow.
I believe. Don't quote me on that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. So he's not in prison yet. That I know of.
Another thing I want to say too is, he is not he's not going to be a re-offender at this point in his life. He's not capable of it anymore.
No, he's not.
It with that.
He's 81 years old.
He's 81 years old. He's half blind. He's sick. He can't re-offend anymore.
And he's not going to be a flight risk. I mean, come on.
Flight risk, yeah.
What's he going to do? Call up one of his friends?
Listen, I get it. It's procedure to but really, again, like we said last week about the 12-year-old kid and that idiot judge. Common sense. When do we exercise common sense when it comes to law?
We don't.
Just saying.
We don't.
You think an 81-year-old sickly elderly man is going to re-offend?
Yeah, what's he going to do? Take
Really?
Blue Chew?
Really?
I mean, Blue Chew can't even help him out with that.
Come on, man. The man can barely walk.
Yeah.
He's sick. He's elderly. He's not going to reoffend.
No. No, he's not. There's no way that he can reoffend.
No. This goes to this whole idea that the law is the law. It's infallible. There's no wriggle. These man-made laws are not infallible because this makes no damn sense whatsoever to even proclaim this man as a reoffender. Ridiculous. You think he's going to reoffend now? He's 81. He's sick.
Yeah, and what? You're only going to name him a
Seriously?
sexual predator until he's what? 90? If not that. Really? Is there any just in calling him a sexual predator? It's not a sexual
not really.
offender anymore.
They just wanted to add, they just wanted to make a statement, essentially. It's like in those cases on ID where they gave somebody 2 life sentences or 3 life sentences.
Or what is it, 300-something years for doing whatever they were doing?
Yeah, they gave that one coach, that one gymnastics coach, and they gave him like 150 years or some crap like that.
250 years plus, what was it, plus 10 for each?
Yeah.
Count,
Really?
Really? Just say he's in there for life.
Damn. Yeah. Just say life without parole. So
Yeah.
I guess his kids are gonna have to serve the rest of that time, and his grandkids, and maybe his great grandkids.
And maybe his great grandkids.
Really?
Yep. Come on, people. There's the maximum punishment allowed, and then there's just stupid punishment.
Very much, yeah. Because yeah. Okay, it doesn't. Yeah, we gotta exercise some common sense here, folks. Okay, Bill Cosby is not going to reoffend.
No. And he's not a flight risk.
And no, he's not a flight risk.
And he doesn't have his own plane. Blank hole. That's what Bill Cosby said. On one day,
I'm picturing him saying that is kind of funny.
it is funny.
The situation itself isn't funny, but that is, man.
Even in a very serious situation, he was trying to act comical. See?
No, I don't think he was acting comical in that case, but yeah.
I
get it.
No. He was... Yeah, I get it too.
But no,
yeah, he said that referring...
risk.
No, he said that referring himself
risk.
to...
Yep.
Yeah.
He's not a flight
He's
risk.
not a flight
He's not
risk.
going to reoffend anymore.
No.
Just
Stop.
hand him his sentence and send him on his way. Thank you.
Exactly.
That's all. That's all.
Yeah. That's it.
That's all there is to it. Any final
Yep.
thoughts?
Bill Cosby did it, and it's a shame.
There's no doubt. There is no doubt. The facts speak for themselves.
Right.
There's no debating that he did this.
No, not at
Facts
all.
speak for themselves. Yeah.
Yes. So, shall we wrap this up?
Go ahead and take us out.
All right. Folks, continue to stay tuned to our next episode of the Crime Syndicate, which will be on next Wednesday, where we will be going into the conclusion of this 2-part series, where we will be discussing the documentary The Rise and Fall of an Icon. Don't forget to tell your friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to subscribe and leave us comments down below. Follow us on YouTube, on the Twitter, and on the Facebook.
That's right, y'all. Tell your friends, tell your baby mamas, your baby daddies, your surrogate mamas, your surrogate daddies, your side pieces, everybody. Tell everybody.
Whoa. Side pieces too?
Of course, man. Everybody.
Wow.
Everybody. We got love for
All
everybody
right.
around here, you know.
All right. All right.
But anyway, folks, see you guys tomorrow for a loaded Sports Vista.
Woo, I can't wait.
That's right. Tune in tomorrow to Sports Vista.
Thank you for making me jump, sir.
Loaded show for you guys. We have, of course, football Thursday, Sunday, and Monday to talk about. We have UFC, yes, we're going to be discussing Conor McGregor, the loose cannon that is Conor McGregor.
The loose cannon!
We're also going to have a lot of WWE talk for you wrestling fans. Tune in to Sports Vista.
Wow!
Welcome, new members. Welcome to our new subscribers.
Yes.
God bless y'all. Peace.
Thank you for listening to ENT Hooligans, your entertainment hub.